Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 223 of the High Sensitivity Podcast, and thank you for listening. If it's your first time here, we talk about video game and movie news as well we watched or played over the week. My name's Barry, along with another winner and another loser on NFL opening weekend.
Oh my God.
My name is Craig, not wearing my jersey for obvious reasons as a Giants fan.
My name is also Craig. I'm not wearing a jersey, but I am wearing a Philadelphia t-shirt, so that helps. Barry, I see you with the Miami.
Yeah,
We're living our best life.
Yeah, it's an undeniable color, so it's...
Yes. I, on the other hand, already miss Saquon. Saquon, come back.
Nope, he's never leaving.
Yeah, just for our daily 2-minute conversation on football at this point, I've got a few friends from New York that just hate Saquon for leaving, and I'm a Miami Dolphins fan and I love it. I'm sorry, but the Giants effed up, letting him go, Craig.
Oh, we did. We paid the wrong person. I know we're not a sports podcast, but we paid the wrong person, and we're already seeing that. Giants fans knew. We're not even the ones making the decision, but it's not Saquon's fault. Go where your money is and where you're appreciated.
Yep. Also, I wanted to call this out before we get too far in. J Platt 3167. I see you on YouTube. West Virginia by 2 touchdowns. You can get out too.
Oh my God.
You can take that L. Take it.
It's funny. I know he commented. I don't know why he said WVU. He's a Penn State fan. He's he's a roommate of mine. Yep. But I don't know why he said WVU by 2 touchdowns. It confuses me. I think he was referring to this week. Maybe, I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe he's drunk.
It's okay. We
went
on quite a bit last week about the West Virginia game, which was great.
Oh boy.
What's not drunk this week is the news. The news is never drunk.
Hopefully not.
Always right.
Hopefully not.
News this week. But actually, speaking of getting drunk, let's pour one out for our homie Concord.
Yeah.
The shortened life.
5 people who played it.
Yeah. Concord is on the shortened lifespan as of this recording. It's already shut down. September 6th, the servers went dead after the game peaked at around 638 players on Steam. One thing to say, I'm not going to dance on Concord's grave. That is not what this is about. But there's a lot of sickos in this world, I want to say, where the moment Concord got shut down, people on Reddit, especially the GameStop Reddit, started talking about how people were coming in, give me Concord. It says you have it in stock. I want Concord. It's no, we can't sell it.
Those discs are going to be worth money.
How?
It's the same way that go and try and buy a Fortnite disc. See how much they're selling for. It's the same thing because it got pulled. My first thought, because I had it through GameFly, right, was damn, I should have kept it and paid for it, because when you have something like that gets pulled, the value skyrockets because there's not that many copies out there. So that's why everybody was running into Target and GameStop and Best Buy and trying to buy them up, because they know if you buy one of those and send it off to be graded, even that thing's going to be worth a lot.
Yeah, but I don't know. I guess for me, it's one thing. The game doesn't even work.
Nope.
You can't do anything with it.
Yeah, you can't do anything with it.
It's one thing with Fortnite. Fortnite, you could still put in the disc and play the game because the game still is up. But Concord, and it was funny because there were a lot of stories about GameStops, a lot of them getting dumpster dived because they're thinking they're throwing them out. I'm sorry, but these scalpers who are just trying to get it for money, you guys will do anything.
Yep.
Right.
If I told them I had a Concord disc up for sale, I'm pretty sure they'd buy me a house at this point.
Resilience.
Yeah, I kind of want to say something more explicative, but I'm gonna hold my tongue here.
That's hilarious.
But I don't know. I feel bad for the Concord team.
Right.
This game did not receive the reception they were thinking it was going to. A lot of mixed advertising, not a lot of advertisement from Sony's part, kind of knowing this was going to happen. According, and this is news of maybe about a week old. About a week old now. The team is on vacation, apparently. They gave everybody a 2-week vacation or something like that, while Sony and the bigger heads at Firewalk Studios figure out what they're going to do next or what the plan is, whether Concord gets reworked as something different or whether or not, like, unfortunately probably cuts are coming after a game in development for 8 years and in excess of $100+ million spent on development. Unfortunately, like, and we've seen with gaming, after failures like these, cuts tend to get made and people tend to end up suffering from it.
I don't know, man. It's insane to see 2 weeks. I mean, we were kind of like, everybody's been kind of ragging on this game, which is, from what I hear, not a bad game for the people who played it. Like, it's not. I mean, there's obviously there's things that could be worked out with any game, especially in its maiden voyage infancy phase. But this is just a weird failure, for the length of time. I don't know. What do you guys think? Like 2 weeks?
I mean, I played it
or a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and I was just like, it wasn't a terrible game. It's just, you don't need it, and it's very obvious. Like, nobody touched it, so I do feel bad for him. Hopefully they can just start working on something else.
Yeah, like, Sony seems obsessed right now with somehow trying to get a live service game to really hit like Helldivers did.
Yep.
But the thing is, you can't force things like that. Like, it comes naturally at a time that makes sense. And Helldivers makes sense when it came out and for everything it did. Whereas the game had to come out eventually after being 8 years in development. But
how's Foam Stars doing?
That's a Square Enix game, though.
Yeah, it is.
It's a Square Enix game, and at least it's still up.
It is still up, yeah.
I hate that game. My wife and I tried to play that twice.
I didn't hate it, to be honest. Yeah, I didn't hate it.
I have to look up the concurrent players on that.
Right.
Roblox reaches 1 billion players, and
Dang.
Roblox creators also announced that a greater rev share is coming to creators. To think, like, you could probably make a living being a creator on Roblox, and like, it's always funny because people tend to rag on, like, oh, it's Roblox. But, like, I see what people do. Like, they got fun soccer games, fun football games that you and your friends can play. Like, as much as people want to doubt it, 1 billion players is nothing to scoff at. Roblox continues to do a lot of microtransaction stuff wrong, but you guys get my point.
Yeah, there's like, my daughter still plays Roblox with her friends, and coming from when she was very little, and like, we would play games on Roblox together, and you'd be like, there was one that we used to play, and I was like, oh, this is kind of like a Roblox version of Call of Duty that we would play. But now, like, she was playing a Five Nights at Freddy's Roblox game, and it was identical to Five Nights at Freddy's as far as how it looks. Like, you could not tell the difference. The things they've been able to do in Roblox has come such a long way. We used to do these things when she was really little, where somebody would go into Roblox and they would build like Disney World or Universal Studios, and you could walk through it and ride all the rides, and it looked like you would ride them, but there was like, it's very blocky, like the Roblox style. If you do it now, it's like almost perfect. So I don't know what changed as far as like the creator software, but the stuff they're putting up, there's a Call of Duty clone on there that is insane. Like, you would not be able to tell that you're not playing a Call of Duty game, but you're playing Roblox. They've come a long way. If you haven't checked out Roblox, like, there's some crazy stuff on there.
That's what the great games do, is they keep evolving and they incorporate other things into it. I mean, Fortnite is another good example of different modes. It's not just Fortnite anymore, Even some of the smaller things they did with their own modes, like no build. Like, when that came out, there was a resurgence in people who would maybe put down the game, including myself. So I don't know. Shout out to Roblox, well deserved. Like it was said, people rag on it because, like, oh, it's Roblox, but the numbers don't lie.
Yep. True.
We then have Xbox announcing a stream during the Tokyo Game Show. And in case anybody's wondering, that stream will take place September 26th at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Ooh.
That's that Tokyo stuff, but also I'm looking it up right now with something particular. But the creator of Xbox has kind of come out and said that they've made some very poor decisions when it comes to gaming lately.
Mm.
Um and a lot of this has to do with Antoria.
Yep.
This was
Giamma Games.
Yeah, this was the
Okay.
Souls-like game that was supposed to come out and now has been delayed indefinitely. And Microsoft apologized for the fact that it's not coming out on time. This is supposed to come out September 18th.
It still is on PlayStation.
Yeah. So it's one of these things where, like, and we'll talk about Sony. We've already talked about Sony a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
but Xbox is really trying to make their mark and like get their games kind of coming out, but then stuff like this comes out and it's like, well, you kind of shot yourselves in the foot here.
Right.
Yeah, they literally said, because I was looking into that, because it was supposed to come out on both, and then it was like, no, it's only coming out on PlayStation. It's delayed on Xbox. So of course, my first thought is it's another Series S issue. But
Right.
then the developer came out and said, no, the issue is that we've been reaching out to Microsoft and they've been ghosting us. They're not responding to us. And that's what caused Microsoft to apologize. And they are now working with them to try and get this figured out so they can release it. It's not going to be ready in time, obviously, but this was literally like this, which is a smaller developer, obviously. I was actually excited for this game. And then they're like asking for help or trying to discuss things, and Microsoft just didn't even answer them. Like, that's not the best way to go about it.
No.
Not when you're in. What's up?
What day is it supposed to come out?
It's in like a week or two, right?
The 18th.
Yeah.
The 18th. It's
very
not next
soon.
Wednesday, the following Wednesday.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just like poor planning on Xbox's part, like this is definitely a game that some people like, and a lot of people really like Souls games. This one seemed to be kind of in the Lies of P area with something with masks. It seems like gameplay didn't look too terrible either. But
I played a demo for this. It's the last song.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I played the demo. It wasn't my cup of tea in the beginning, but by the end of the demo, because I went back and played it, to the end, it actually did kind of pick up a little bit. So yeah,
okay.
It's got some wheels on it.
And then lastly, PS5 Pro might have been confirmed after Sony starts to celebrate its 30th anniversary. Me and Sony got one thing in common. We both old now. We both old people.
Yep.
30 means you're washed. PlayStation's kind of washed now as well, now that it's 30.
Yeah,
but
totally.
I know we've talked about the PS4 Pro on here. None of us are really getting it, most likely.
I doubt it. Yeah.
No.
But what did you guys think of like the little bit of the 30 celebration stuff that they'll be releasing here?
What was that like? Oh my god, I'm blanking on what I saw. There was like this physical thing they were releasing.
Yeah, like it.
Yeah,
there's
that looked interesting.
like the PlayStation shapes.
Yeah,
like I think and I think it's like the wood frame. I have like the. Oh no, that's not it. It's something a little. Okay, never mind. It's different. I had to take a look and see what it looked like.
I saw it in passing, and I was like, "What the heck is this like PlayStation shapes thing?"
Yeah,
shapes of play.
Shapes of play. There it is.
Yeah,
there you go.
They're $80. Are they literally just like blocks?
Yeah.
And why would you pay $80 for them?
Because
people pay ridiculous amounts of money.
Magnetic blocks. Right. So they're like magnetiles.
Okay.
13 magnetic wood blocks in a storage box for $79.99.
Ooh, that sounds like Sony.
Your mind.
That sounds like Sony.
That's yeah.
No, thank you.
Let's see here. Other than that, last thing I have is Balattra's coming to mobile. In case people are very fun. Card game, Texas Hold'em card game with some really zany rules that are really addicting. A lot of people are going to get hooked on this game when it gets to iOS and Android.
Okay. Okay. So first thing I have, we were going to kick up some rumors again here. It's the word out there that Nintendo's flying out some high-profile influencers next month. All signs point to a Switch 2 reveal. Do you think that's true?
Great. Well, if we're not getting flown out, it's not really that big of a deal.
Yeah, I think they missed us. We should check our email.
Yeah, let me refresh real quick. I guess, right?
Either that, or it's got something, or it's some other big announcement. I think it has to be. I think it's either Pokemon or it's that.
Okay.
Like, Pokemon's been sending a lot of I see Pokemon more than anyone really sending creators out to their events.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it was like the World Championships that just happened a couple weeks ago, sending them out to Hawaii for that. Or if like when they're doing some of the other events in Japan, like influencers are getting sent out there for it. Like if you're like a Pokemon guy and you got a couple thousand subscribers, you're getting invited to these things.
Yeah.
Invite me, please. Why not? Why not me?
Right.
Also in the rumor mill, this one seems to be more. There's a lot of people reporting on this one. GTA 6 reportedly being delayed to 2026.
Yes.
Woo!
Yeah, you have to expect it. You have to keep this in the back of your mind with that,
Constant.
with games like this.
Dude, I'm getting to the point where like it's been so long. I know I'm still gonna care when it comes out, but I'm starting to not care. I know that as soon as they give the date and like it's like a week away and it went gold and I know I'm gonna buy it, then I'll be excited. But right now I'm just like, dude, it's been like over 10 years.
The question is GTA on the same release schedule as Kingdom Hearts? I think it's what we're getting
think it
at.
is.
Yeah. GTA released GTA 4 like 7 times in its lead up to GTA 6. For Kingdom Hearts, we got like 6 spin-off games before Kingdom Hearts 3 came out. So I think they're both following the same development cycle here. I think 2026 is the year of GTA 6 and Kingdom Hearts 4.
There's Kingdom Hearts stuff going on at Orlando right now.
I saw that too, yeah.
Well, at least we know, and then at least we know it's not going to come out like a Skull and Bones after this.
I hope not.
But it looks like the latter half of the year is going to be the time for big titles. When is the new Elder Scrolls? Isn't that 2027, 2028?
Oh, I don't know.
2062 is that the accurate
2062. Yeah. Sure, I guess. I mean,
sure.
I was starting to be like, literally being like, oh yeah, next year's GTA finally, and now it's like, maybe not. But again, there's always a million games to play to keep you occupied in the meantime. So maybe we get Kingdom Hearts next year instead.
That'd be big. I'd lose my mind.
Yeah, you would.
You would.
Astro Bot, highest rated standalone game so far this year.
Right.
I'll get
some
into
calling
it. Played.
Yeah, some people are calling it Sony's like Super Mario 64.
Yeah, I'll save all that. But
same here.
Surprising that it's the highest rated.
I think so too.
After everything that came out this year, that's pretty.
I mean,
crazy.
that trailer looked good, man. I know a lot of people were skeptical after it. I didn't play it yet, but I was pretty impressed after the trailer.
Just wait.
Way back.
Yeah,
just wait.
Oh God.
Just wait.
Yep. Last thing I have, and I have to bring this up. Dr. Disrespect is back. He streamed again on Friday. I did tune in to see what he was going to say. At one point, there was over 250,000 people watching his stream, which is insane. I don't really want to get into like all the stuff he said, but I think you can you knew what he was going to say, which is not denying everything, but being like, I didn't do anything wrong legally is kind of how he's framing it. A lot of interesting information came out. Everybody is like torn again on like, some people are supporting him. You have people like Nick Merckx who are still out there completely being like, absolutely not. Did either of you guys watch any of the highlights or anything?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What'd you think?
The complete and utter just indecency to wrap the words around to make you seem as creditable as possible, completely blaming multiple Twitch staff members as if you had this insane group out to get you. And while there are probably people who hate him in the industry of that, and maybe in Twitch or whatever like that, the desperation that was behind his particular tone while he was delivering that was just, it was palpable and it was disgusting.
Yeah.
It just was. He was like trying to break down. It's like, and again, not to go too much into it because it is kind of a disgusting thing that not kind of, it is a disgusting thing that he did, but breaking down like small things to try to make it seem like it's not that big of a deal. It's just, it was really bad to look at. And what is refreshing is seeing how much of the community is tearing him apart, especially some high profile ones.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, he still has a following. So he's going to be back. He's going to stream. He's going to continue to make money. He's just not going to have those sponsorships, right? I think the craziest thing to me was like seeing him not wearing a Turtle Beach headset. He was wearing Sennheisers. Like, it's just weird because he has been Turtle Beach for as long as I can remember. But yeah, he's definitely back. I expected a big number, obviously, because everybody wants to know what he's going to say. Obviously, it's going to drop off. But compared to what I'm seeing online, he's still going to have a massive following, which is crazy. But
it is.
Yeah, he's back. But that's all I had.
Well, that's a tough one to follow, especially that last one. I only have a couple of more. Speaking of games success, Black Myth Wukong, 8 million copies and counting, which number one is great for a game that didn't release physically, following in the should we, shouldn't we Alan Wake decision of do we release it digitally only and what's going to happen. It's not stopping Black Myth Wukong. In addition to that, DLC confirm amid their sales milestones. So for anybody who is enjoying that game, like moi, and I'll talk about that, you could expect some DLC coming in that. Craig, I know you were playing it, and I know we'll get into games played, but Barry, have you tried it yet as well?
No, I will be waiting.
Okay. It's nice to see. Also, this is the year, guys, and I keep saying it to myself and sometimes on this podcast, but two relatively successful and I should say revered enough games done by companies that focus specifically on mobile games.
Yeah.
We got this and we got Stellar Blade, and it's just, this is that year, man. So I don't know, Game Awards, I'm going to be watching those two closely because I'd like to see them win some stuff, because I think that's, for this being your first crack at it and seeing this type of success. Same thing with Stellar Blade, with Shift Up, right?
Yep, you got
it. It's just really nice to see.
Stellar who?
Barry?
Still Stellar Blade.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I forgot about that game.
Oh, did you?
I was about to say I haven't. Still the top 5. Still in my top 5.
Still top 5. I got another small one. This one I just found pretty interesting. X Defiant is offering $9 in virtual currency to the players of it. The
free money, baby.
The irony of it is it arrives literally right after the Call of Duty beta ends this weekend. Coincidence?
Ain't nobody going back to X Defiant.
It's insane.
That game's dead.
Yeah. So that's a thing. And for anybody who is playing X Defiant, that is available as well. And then the last thing I had is, and this is regarding kind of the AI strikes. There's, I guess recently, 80 video games were reached in agreement by SAG for the strikes. And that allows people who weren't able to work on those projects to go back to work, which is nice, kind of like a small win victory there. I know that, and this goes to the whole AI versus, I guess, humanity, a strike there. It has a lot of people on kind of like edge, because you could see why AI is used on a company standpoint if you think in a business stance, but when you think of people with their jobs, you also you could see why it's terrible. So it's kind of nice that there was a win with those 80 games and those 80 projects. And I don't know, it's hard to follow this because you want I personally hate to see anything come to strikes, but I think it is interesting and something that we should just continue to follow and keep an eye on. But I don't know if you guys are keeping up with that as much, but that's all I really had with news.
No, yeah, I've been keeping up with it a little bit when it because we reported on it maybe a couple weeks ago. Mm-hmm. It's just a matter of like, yeah, people like, it's job security, especially in the gaming world where all we hear about is jobs continuously being cut, studios being destroyed. Like, voice actors also deserve to have, like, their work protected and to make sure that happens. So I completely get it. So I'm for it.
Yep.
Are we for now games this week?
Let's do it.
All right. For me, it is Astro Bot and Age of Mythology Retold.
I knew you were going to be Age of Mythology. I didn't touch it, but yeah. I knew you would. Astrobot for me. And listen, I gotta check. I know I talked about it last week. I have to check in with Wukong again, and then also I wanted to check in one more time with Visions of Mana.
Craig, I'll be joining you with 2 games because I wasn't here last week. So mine are Star Wars Outlaws, Black Myth Wukong, and Visions of Mana.
Look at that! All right. How cute.
Hi. Let's do it.
Go into your guys's like both of your revisits.
Okay. Do we start with Wukong?
Yeah, it's the older game, and we actually had an episode where we already spoke about it like weeks ago.
I brought it up last week because I talked about how I had gotten to a certain boss that I thought was extremely unfair. And then right after I finally beat it, I got to another boss that was extremely unfair. And my feelings for the game had soured considerably. I am now, that was chapter 2. I'm now into chapter 3. And we're going to get into Astrobot, but I wanted to bring it up because I was literally playing both of those games this week. And as I'm sitting there playing them both on my PS5, I'm like, I could potentially be playing 2 games of the year right here. Insane. But yeah, Wukong, first of all, those in between chapter music videos are insane. They're insane. Right. I don't even know how many hours I have. Probably like 20 or no, probably closer to 30. And I'm only on chapter 3. But man, that game, like, once you figure out, like, hey, the reason I couldn't beat these was because I didn't go to this whole separate side area, and then I got something that made that boss like
a whole lot easier.
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about.
Cry. Right. But I don't know, like the bosses, those music videos, that's what they call them. I don't really consider them music videos, but that's what they call them. The story, it looks incredible. It's a game of the year. It really is. And I would still be playing it a lot if it were not for Astrobot. But anyway, what do you think?
I'm right near you, man. Yeah. Not just in place in the game, but also in mindset. I think it's a fantastic game that can be game of the year contending. And I get frustrated for a lot of the same reasons that you get frustrated in any Souls game or Souls like. But I know exactly what you're talking about with that boss at the end of chapter 2. I am also in chapter 3. I'm towards the end of it.
Okay.
And I have 30 hours as well. I don't know who said it's a 15-hour playtime.
Yeah, it's not.
When it was reported earlier, it's not. There's still 3 more chapters, I hear. So it's fantastic. And the one thing that I like about the game that brings me back is, who am I fighting next?
Yeah.
That's my question. You go here, you fight this boss. It's completely different. It's not a reskin of any other person in the game. And then the next person is this. I was fighting some, and this doesn't really ruin it, but I literally was walking in a field and I found a monk restrained, and he literally fought me the way you see it, like in like awesome, like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon kind of stuff. Like, he fought me with just his feet. And like that's the only boss that did it. There's no other enemy in there like that. It's just it's an amazing blend of mythology and just what would be as close to a realistic setting as well. it's just a very interesting game, and they nail it. Those scenes in between are fantastic. In between chapters, you're right there, Craig. I love this game.
Yeah,
and it's like I'm glad to see its success.
I literally I had to pull my at the end of chapter 2. I had to pull my wife into the living room, and I was like, I don't even know what's going on, but look at this stop motion video they just randomly started playing. I don't know why, but it's incredible. You know what I mean? I don't know why they did it, but it's so cool. But yeah, the more I play it, the more I'm like, okay, it has its flaws. Just like you said, every Souls game, why does every Souls game need a level where you're trying to go vertical and all the enemies are trying to kick you off the ledge and you fall off 50 times and you get pissed off? Why does every Souls game have that? You don't need it. Stop putting that in there. I hate it. But yeah, it's just it's a rush of that boss looked incredible. What's the next one going to look like? And then 10 minutes later, there's the next one. You're like, all right, that was awesome. What's next? It's just a constant, you just want to see what's next, which is cool.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
The only problem I'll say, Craig, I think you'll find this out the more you go to, is chapter 3 is long, man.
Okay.
Chapter 3 is
I'm on, I don't
really
remember her
long.
name. She's the ice lady.
Is she like a dragon?
Yeah.
Kind? Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yep. But yeah. I wanted to check back in on Visions of Mana. I have stopped playing it. Barry, did you stop too?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to come back to it. I am on chapter 4. I don't know how far you guys got.
I'm in 3. Is 3?
Okay.
Yeah, because I had the real big twist that made it not as happy of a game.
That's what I wanted to bring up.
Okay, yeah.
Barry, where are you at?
Nope, not me. Do you guys want to talk about it? I will.
No. We can wait.
Okay.
But
no, we can wait. We can definitely.
Dude, you know how we talked about Barry, you and I talked about this is the perfect kind of comfort RPG, right? And you're yeah, you go and I'm gonna collect my grizzly syrup and I'm gonna open all these chests and these enemies are kind of cute and the story's all right. And then you get to the end of chapter 3 and you're like, what the what? That's literally what I did. And I was like, no, hold up. Hold on a minute. But yeah. And then all these other games came out and I decided
that's my issue.
This was the one to sacrifice until later. But this potentially, I think will probably end up in my top 10. I don't think it's Game of the Year contender, but it's real good.
I haven't played all the of Manas.
Mm-hmm.
This is my favorite by far.
Oh, by far. Yep.
By far. It's quite evolved.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Barry, whenever you get back to it, we'll expect a text from you when you get to the end of chapter 3. I'm going to be dreading chapter 3.
Can you just put grizzly?
Grizzly. Just keep telling yourself that. It'll make you happy. Grizzly. But yeah, Vision of Mana. That's a great game. It just came out at the wrong time.
Yeah.
Right? It's going to get buried. I know it is.
Yeah.
But that means you may be able to pick it up for cheap.
Right.
And, maybe January, February or something.
Let me talk about Age of Mythology Retold, as that is the next thing. As the tactical RPG man of the podcast here, I am a big fan of Age of Mythology series and a lot of these other games. Age of Empires. Age of Mythology is a game very, very, very close to my heart. I spent hundreds of hours as a child playing custom games, downloading mods, and having fun with Age of Mythology. Age of Mythology Retold, and I still have to play a couple more games. I'm a decent amount through the story. This is a very, very faithful retelling of Age of Mythology. I need to read some articles about what, if balancing wise, what was fixed, if there was anything fixed when it came down to it. But if you're looking to get into these types of games, Age of Mythology I think is the one that'll hook people the best. because all of these different gods you get to play through have very unique play styles, very different powers, and just the fun types of things you get to do, like casting meteor on a poor settlement. You don't really get to do that in Age of Empires. Uh, calling stones so that you can call animals over to it and just start feeding on animals real quickly. As people know, it is faster to collect animal meat than it is to farm. Just in case you're wondering, pro tip from myself. But they're also like adding more gods into it. Like I still have not downloaded the premium edition, but they did add Freyr as a Norse god.
Cool.
Okay.
So they are adding new stuff. I'm just not like, this is again a retelling of Age of Mythology. So it is much of the very same. If you've played it recently, you've probably played it before, just with a better and nicer fresh coat of paint.
Let me ask you this, Barry, because I was all in on Age of Empires growing up. I never played Age of Mythology ever. So just from that alone, will I like it? Or am I
think so.
Okay.
One thing that I think Age of Mythology does better is like giving you a hero character story and giving you unique challenges to kind of play through. Like the story mode is actually really engaging. If you're a Game Pass member, the regular edition is bundled in with your Game Pass Ultimate. So think about that, whether or not you want to take part in it. But like, whereas Age of Empires is more about certain conquests and historical tales. Like a lot of this stuff, like you got to replay like the being in the Trojan horse stuff.
Oh, cool.
In Age of Mythology. So it's one of those things where like getting to redo these historical battles of, especially like the Trojan horse one is probably one of my favorites of all time. But of like going into the underworld, Titans, like the maps are just like levels beyond like what you can do in Age of Empires, because it's not set in reality. It's set in Greek mythology.
So it's kind of like, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I like that you get a hero character, kind of like how Warcraft does. They give you like kind of like a hero character, or StarCraft even. But like it also sounds like it's kind of like Age of Empires with like a black and white feel, because you can like throw meteors and things like that at points. It sounds actually pretty fantastic.
Yeah. I would be hard pressed if you guys don't like this game.
Right.
I'll install it.
It is fun. It is absolutely a fun retelling.
Yeah, I'll install it too. Craig, I'm with you. I played the crap out of Age of Empires growing up. I loved that game, and I don't know why I haven't touched this one. So like, I think this will end up on my computer.
Age of Mythology had a very strong community. So like the types of games you can play, like I'd put them on par with Halo 3 custom games. And that is a high bar to set. Like the amount of stuff you could do and customize, and like not even about conquest and destroying a bunch of stuff. Like cat and mouse was a huge thing in Age of Mythology, and you still can do it. And the community will start to bring back up those maps and game modes that I once loved. So I'm just glad we're eventually getting back into it. But as of right now, the vanilla game and Conquest itself, whether it's by yourself or with friends, it's fun.
Okay. Craig?
Love it. Oh,
Star Wars
Outlaws.
Did you also do the Ubisoft for a month?
No.
Oh, okay.
I just played it.
All right, fair. He doesn't agree with me.
This is a 7 out of 10 to an 8 out of 10. I have been playing a lot of it. There's four planets in total that you can find, I think, at least at where I am. I'm on the 3rd planet. I've played a lot of this, and I can't decide exactly, like if I had to pitch this to a bunch of gamers, I don't know where I would start. I like it, kind of, and then I don't. And then I do. I have this battle when I'm playing it. So what is nice about it is it's a good attempt at an open world. in terms of the open world nature, the first planet that you land on is huge. I don't know, you have a choice to go to 3 planets after a certain point in the mission, but like the one that I went to was not a huge open world. It was only a city. So it was a big city, but they kind of realized that not every world should be the same size. The story's fine. I don't care really about what's going on. I watch it because there's some really cool Star Warsy music in the background that goes on during big parts. There's enough. I think it does ships better than frickin' Starfield, which is
100%,
hilarious.
100%.
Which is hilarious to me because it's not. It's I don't know. They didn't focus too much on that when they were showing us like a lot of the gameplay. The on-ground stuff is fine. There's small things that I hate where like you have a blaster that you can upgrade, but everybody else on the planet that shoots a gun has a better gun than you, but you can't keep those guns for good. You have to pick them up as you go.
About that, yep.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things that, and I don't know if you guys are feeling this, or if you felt this since you guys talked about it last week, but I can't decide. Like I'm so 50-50 on this where I get excited to play it sometimes, then I turn it on and I don't want to play it. Like, I don't know. The factions are cool. It's really interesting having to balance that. I immediately gravitated for some reason towards Crimson Dawn. So I had a lot of work to do with the pikes.
Yep.
Also the huts, you just want, because it's Jabba the Hutt, so I wanted to be good with the huts, to be honest with you. But I think it's a Ubisoft game.
It definitely is.
It just is. It's not going to make you do backflips, finish your homework early, kids, or leave your job an hour early, adults, to go home and play. But it's a game. It's in front of me. And like, I'm surprised that I put the amount of hours that I have into it. I think that's my take. I don't know.
I said this last week. I really like it. I think it's one of the best Ubisoft games they've done in a long time. But I think like my problem is I would have a lot more hours into it, but I'm looking at all these other games right now. And when you do that, you have to cut some. And for me, it's Visions of Mana and Star Wars Outlaws right now.
Yeah.
Because there's just other games that are better.
Yeah.
Which is a good problem to have. I don't think it's a bad game. I think it's a very well done game. I just think it has some issues. A little bit.
There's a couple of glitches and such like that. It's just I think I might have a more clear cut. That's why I can only say a 7 or that I'm 50-50, because like there are times I really want to play it, like a lot. And then there's just times where, and this might be the fact that there are other games. There are times where I'm like, nope, Black Myth Wukong or Visions. I'm trying to get them done, you know?
Same. It's hard. It's definitely hard. Speaking of, Barry, let's do it.
Speaking of games you're going to want to stop playing, Craig, just go get Astro Bot now. Like, stop what you're doing. Like, stop. I'll stop talking. Go and pick up Astro Bot right now at your local game store. Start installing it and come back.
Yep.
It's really hard not to glaze this game like the amount I'm about to glaze it. Speaking in trying to stay young terms, Astro Bot is one of the reasons you buy a PS5.
Yep.
It is, and many people are calling it, and probably rightly so, like, this is Sony's Super Mario 64. It's kind of strange they do it with an original character too. Mario was cemented in gaming already. Astro Bot is kind of 2 VR games and an Astro's Playroom to its name, but not to a game of this hype yet. And the reason I think Sony didn't need to release a big game this year is because this blew everyone's expectations out of the water. Yeah. This game, not a lot of people had a lot of confidence in it or knew what it was. Craig, I'll let you talk now, but Astro Bot's been everything that's great with gaming right now.
Yeah. So I'm fresh off of getting all 3,000 achievement points of Crash Bandicoot Trilogy, right? I did that
Yeah.
the past couple weeks because Crash Bandicoot is one of my favorite platformers of all time. I'm getting Crash Bandicoot tattooed on my leg. Seriously considering, do I need to put an Astro Bot in there somewhere? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is up there with the great platformers: Super Mario 64, Crash Bandicoot, Banjo Kazooie. I'm trying to think of the other great platformers. Any Mario, really.
Super
To
Lucky's
me,
Tale.
Super Lucky
So,
Tale is incredible.
I know.
Yeah, yeah. It's just like it plays well. It uses the features of the PlayStation incredibly well, just like it did the original. But that was a pack-in. That was like, hey, get introduced to your PlayStation. And that's why I was on the fence as far as like, dude, you're making a sequel to a game that most people didn't even finish, let alone play more than 5 minutes of. I beat it because I thought it was fun, but I didn't have much hope either. But like the cameo characters that you rescue are incredible. The fact that like Microsoft did say that they allowed them to use Crash Bandicoot because they said he's important to Sony's history. But like every time, you go to a level and they have like, all right, there's like 6 bots you have to rescue, and then they have the little symbols for the special ones, right? Every time I'm like, oh, who's it going to be this time? You know what I mean? And like you go into level and you're like, oh my god, that's the dude from Bloodborne, or like that's Ratchet, or oh, that's Solid Snake over there. It's always fun. The levels are extremely well thought out. They vary. It has that replayability, whereas like, okay, I got those, and maybe I missed some puzzle pieces. I'm gonna go back in. When you go back in, you can pay coins to have this little bird that helps you find the things you're missing, which is incredible. It has some levels have secret exits which take you to another galaxy with new levels. It's just like, it's literally, I was having so much fun with Wukong, and I was like, I don't even care, I just want to play Astro Bot right now because Astro Bot is just that good. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, game of the year possibilities here.
Yeah.
Wow.
I feel the same way.
Yeah, and there's a lot of good games this year, but this is up there. And I haven't even played enough yet.
Yeah.
I need to play more.
Yeah, like it's one of these things where like it is bright, it is colorful, the music is fun. Like it is in every way a fun, like first of all, it's a fun game. But if you have history with PlayStation, like a lot of gamers do, I highly doubt there are no gamers who've shied away from playing PlayStation for all 30 years that it's been around. There's a callback for you here. I loved getting the little Bloodborne guy. And Sony could, and MinMax kind of gave me this idea and talks about it a little bit. Sony could have done this game in a really disgusting way, where like you're linked to the game that it's referring to, and you can buy it right out of the game, like right from playing Astro Bot. Like, but they focus so much on just like making it these like cute little callbacks that that are fun. Like I was surprised to find like, and it's early on, like like I found Castlevania characters.
Yeah.
And they're not called Alucard. It's called, Defiant Child, a lot better than his father, like in a lot of ways, which Alucard Dracula, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's just fun little things like that. Like I know I'm setting myself up for heartbreak here, guys, but if I see Sora in Astro Bot, I'm gonna lose my mind.
That would be crazy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But maybe that's my hope. But there are still just so many fun characters to find.
Right.
Solid Snake hiding in a tree. Hiding in a tree. Psycho Mantis being carried by being carried. It's the deeper connection you have with PlayStation. I think even the little more like the little tidbits I don't even understand, but like you guys will get. So it's one of those things where it succeeds in so many ways, and it is such a fun platformer. The game is not too hard. Some of the lost levels can definitely be a little bit more platform tricky, but that's on purpose. It's on purpose.
Yep.
Much like a Super Mario Sunshine and those challenge levels. It's kind of like that. But the game is simple enough to understand. I think a lot of people and a lot of kids this is probably going to be some of their first games.
You don't even have lives.
Yeah.
Like if you die, you just go back to the checkpoint, which is nice.
Yeah.
I think Craig, you and I, we, at least for me, PlayStation 1 was such a huge part when that came out of my childhood. So we have that full PlayStation 1 to PlayStation 5 and everything in between that we're going to catch probably 99.9% of these callbacks. But at the end of the day, even if you don't, it doesn't matter because you're still going to see stuff in there, like you said, Barry, that you're going to be like, oh, I know who that is. My only thing is if you don't like platformers, say you're a person who's I only play shooters, you're probably not going to like this game.
Yeah, but you
know what I mean? So that may keep it from the mainstream audience of being no, I don't want to play Astro Bot. You know what I mean? I'm here for Black Ops 6. I don't care about a kid's platformer. But it's the small stuff, like you said, the level. I see these gigantic boxes, wooden crates, and I punch them, and Wampa fruit from Crash Bandicoot come falling out. And I'm just okay, that's very well done, And it just makes you finish a level, and you're okay, what's the next level? Okay, what's the next one? And you just want to keep going because you want to see all that stuff they crammed in there. And your ship is the PlayStation 5 again, which is cool, and you get to see the insides and all that, but.
Yeah, if you're here for story, you're probably not going to get much of that either. It is very simply Super Mario 64, Letter from Princess, come save me kind of deal. An alien ship destroys your mothership. Now go get your mothership stuff back, kind of deal there. That's the whole point, and get your little Astro buddies back too.
Yeah, it's a fantastically well done game. This one's going to be competing in the top spot for sure. I think.
Oh yeah.
Go get it, Craig.
Yeah,
Craig, did you buy it yet?
I mean, I was actually. That's why I was looking at my phone while you guys were selling it.
Buy digital and download it right now.
Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking.
I tell you to buy physical, but if you can get it physically,
Are you a platform? Do you enjoy platformers though?
I mean, I do. Okay. I do. I also like well done platformers. Which is what it sounds like.
Any sort of modicum in a of a platformer, you will find something to like about this game.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think you'll be impressed with how they use the DualSense.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's one of those things where we haven't really seen a game take real advantage of the DualSense other than we've seen Returnal do the half trigger pulls, things like that.
Playroom did it. The last game.
And that's what I mean. We've seen Playroom done it. Returnal was fairly on in the PS5's lifespan as well. Yes, there are the haptic feedbacks, but a lot of people forget the vibration stuff that's in these controllers, and it's fun to use, and they use it in creative ways. Yeah. Just like the little time it takes to kind of just walk around, and you're missing something, and you're gonna find it.
Yep.
Right.
I'm having fun doing that. And as you mentioned, Craig, they give you the opportunity to pay for this little bird, and it'll give you a hint. And then it's funny because a lot of the solutions are pretty easy.
They are.
Yeah. There's this one where you have to break an ice seal. Yeah. And it's oh, how am I doing that? How am I supposed to break this? And then it just turns out, you just got to take something from this other area that you just passed, just throw it at that instead.
Right.
Little pro tip.
Coming from Crash Bandicoot, where 106% in that game is a chore. It's kind of nice to be oh, I can find everything at least so far, and I'm not sweating,
pulling your hair out.
Yeah, trying to figure out how to get it. It's just oh, this is a nice leisurely stroll through PlayStation history here.
Right.
It's very cool.
And a part of it too for me, in the first area, really the first characters you're gonna find are Ratchet and Clank's characters there. And a part of me is man, I really should go back to Rift Apart. And that's the problem that this game is making me think about. It's man, I never did finish Rift Apart. I really should finish that.
Great.
And it's like things like that. So I have a feeling like it's going to remind me of games like, oh, I never finished that, because like, to be fair, I have a lot of games I never finish. So it's definitely going to be one of those things. But I am Astro Bot has exceeded my expectations in almost any way I could have ever like thought about.
Yep.
And on that little PlayStation Portal, it's fun. It's fun playing on that little thing, because that thing is a DualSense controller, so I don't lose anything out of it. So it's a lot of fun, especially opening weekend of NFL football here.
Just power away while you're watching.
Yeah, and it's not like I'm gonna be missing a 15-minute narrative cutscene in Astro Bot.
True.
I haven't gotten that far. There may be a 15-minute scene in there.
I hope not.
Well, you sold me.
Did you buy it? Yeah. Is it in the buy? Did you buy it yet? Is it getting shipped to your house now?
Yeah, it's in those stages. It's in all of those. It's definitely happening.
Fair.
All right. Are we ready to talk about Watch this week then?
Yeah, let's do it.
We ready to talk about Watchmen? Or just Watch?
Did you watch Watchmen?
I mean, I have before, but
I haven't watched that in a long time.
Yeah. Sorry, Barry. I took the wind out of the sails. Why don't you go first? Say what you watched.
No, I wanted to ask actually, what did you watch, Mr. Watchman? What did you watch?
Longlegs.
Okay.
I also watched. I'm into the fourth or the newest season of Only Murders as well. So I'm just gonna briefly shout that out as well. And I talked about Furiosa, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Then we're caught up for me.
Okay.
I've been playing a crap ton.
What you got, Barry?
I forgot to mention it last week. I watched the Connor Stallions documentary, Untold.
Oh, yes.
And I finished Delicious in Dungeon.
Oh, Delicious in Dungeon. I watched Rebel Ridge and Oddity.
We both forgot to watch Kiki's Delivery.
Again, I know we did really well for 1 week.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it. I am making a statement here. I'm watching Kiki's Delivery.
I will as well. Dang it.
Look, you don't have to watch it, but I will.
I want to. I just keep forgetting.
Okay. Yeah, same here. The Astro Bot. We can blame Astro Bot.
Yeah, it's Astro Bot.
We can blame Astro Bot.
And and it's not going to be getting any easier because, like Craig, I mentioned it to you. The reviews for Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2,
insane.
That looks like it's going to take up some time as well.
Oh boy.
So I am in the struggle bus to find time to watch stuff. But we always know you watch something, Craig. So tell us what you watched.
Yeah. What? So tell us about Longlegs, Craig.
Yeah.
Oh, no, but what did me?
I told you. Rebel Ridge and Oddity.
Oh, that's right. Right. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Longlegs.
I can get Longlegs out the way because that is the older film. Craig, I know that your house was indifferent after leaving.
They were.
I sided with you.
Okay.
And my wife also. It's fantastic.
Okay.
We really enjoyed it. There were times where the cinematography is something that's very huge to point out. Ran into the same thing that you were mentioning, where there's a lot of times you thought somebody was going to come in and kill the main character, like frequently.
Yep.
And it was the way that they shot it, which had a good sense of keeping you on edge while they were telling you the story, which is something that scary movies have an issue with, is when they are trying to establish a story, especially like this eerie bone collector, like Seven kind of esque thing that you're feeling as the story happens. It could get boring, but there was in no way Longlegs was boring. Nicolas Cage, out of this world. He is a very specific actor that does what he does, and you can argue about whether he is the most decorated or even the best actor or actress in terms of how they do it, but there's nobody like him. And that's why he should be in roles like in the role that he's in. There is a singing part in the movie that I cannot get out of my head, and I say it quite frequently around the house, much to the dismay of my wife. But it had a very interesting way of building it up. You're trying to figure out the characters, the main character's connection to everything that's going on, and I think they really nailed the landing at the end for what they can do, because I think you can really mess up the landing of a scary movie. There's like 6 things you can do, and it all depends on how you do it. So while we're trying to figure out the twist ended up coming in a fashion that still made us feel very satisfied at the end. And it's a great movie. I know that is it polarized in terms of how people feel about it? Is it well received?
I think it's pretty well received.
It's pretty well received. Can't confirm.
Pretty well received.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for the most part.
Barry, I think you should put, like Craig said, I think you should put aside your.
Yeah, you should watch it.
You should watch this one, Barry. This one is
But guys, there's so many things to play.
You're right.
You can put on Astro Bot while you're watching it.
Yeah, play Astro Bot.
I don't think that's how this works.
I don't think that's how it works.
It'll help you be distracted and not be so scared.
Right. But there's not a lot of jumps. There's not a lot of this. But like where it succeeds is creepiness. I think that that has to be one of the best antagonist introducing scenes in terms of gut wrenching.
Yep.
Because when you first see Longlegs, or what you think is Longlegs, at least, it was crazy. It was just I don't know. I won't forget it.
Yeah.
The setting or who was in that scene. So I think it fires off on all cylinders, and it's going to be a regular repertoire in our yearly movies. We just watched it, and I think we're still going to watch it as a tradition in the middle of October, towards the end of October. So
I like it.
But that's Longlegs.
Hey, so just before I don't know what it is. I'm just in a very trolling mood. I think a lot is done to me. Craig, how does that make you feel? Number of touchdowns this year?
Yeah, that's to be expected. And as a Giants fan, I'm already looking at the college quarterback and O-line class from this year, and just figuring and kind of guessing where we'll end up in terms of drafting.
I need to stop. I don't know what's making me such a troll person.
It's right now it's between us and the Panthers for number 1 draft pick odds. That's what I'm thinking based on what I've seen today. So we'll see. And they have a quarterback, so they don't like.
But how about like this show, and it's only killers in the apartment, in the room?
Oh, so only murders in the building.
So close.
Only killers in the basement of the studio apartment. This one,
I was never going to get it.
So this is a show based in New York City. It stars Steve Martin, Martin Short, and Selena Gomez.
Selena.
Selena Gomez can do no wrong in this as an actor. She's fantastic in it. And obviously Martin Short and Steve Martin, they speak for themselves in terms of their career. But the 4th season is continuing on. The basic premise is that it starts off with essentially a murder happening in their building. They all live in the same upscale apartment building, and they come together and create a podcast called Only Murders in the Building. And the seasons have moved on with a new killer being revealed each time, and there's been twists and turns. And season 4, it already starts off on a crazy foot with one of the long-standing supporting cast members or whatever being killed off, not in real life, but in the show. So I think that this is one of the most well-written dramas or thrillers, television shows that you can see at the moment. And it's very hard to not power through it. I recommend it. There is quite a bit of comedy combined with what I would say an upper echelon in like an Arrested Development type of like way of writing it, which I hold in a high regard, their writing, for anybody who likes that show. So they find a balance between everything, and the cleverness and the twists. Not to mention they bring in some heavy hitters like over the course of the I mean, Paul Rudd's been in it. Meryl Streep is a mainstay in it. They got Zach Galifianakis in this year. Like it's a wide array, and I think that you'll find somebody that you like. But one thing that you will like is the 3 of them: Steve Martin, Martin Short, Selena Gomez. They're heavy friends outside of filming because of this show. You can find them all over social media, like being best friends, and you could see it in their acting. So I recommend it. It's on Hulu. You don't have to like Hulu Basic.
Yeah, I only ask just because I hear good things about this, but I have never really took the dive into this show yet.
Same.
It's a dive that's worth it.
I hear great things. Like I know it's not on the level of The Bear for me, but like people like really do compare it to like they really loving like people are loving it as much as The Bear. And I can't tell whether or not that's like just from like the Selena Gomez lovers because like her fandom is very, very strong.
Very true.
Yeah, if you guys ever tap into it, let me know how you like it, because like I started off really liking Selena Gomez's character, but I'm a Martin Short guy, man. Like I love that guy. So let me know if you guys ever watch it.
It's been on my list for a while. I just so many other things.
Yeah. You want me to go or you want to go?
It doesn't matter. Whatever you want to do.
Here I'll go.
All right.
So the Connor Stallions documentary on Untold is what it's called on Netflix's thing. It's a good hour and a half documentary about really like getting into the details of why Connor Stallions was such a big like part of Michigan in the last couple of years. Like to the point like things you didn't know. Like so this man enlisted in the Navy, wanted to go for the Marines, all he's wanted to do is two things. All he's wanted to do is coach football and help Michigan win a national championship. He's been indoctrinated to the point kind of like Penn State fans have, but the difference is that Connor Stallions is better than the rest of us when it comes to helping their team win. The way this man like deciphered like play calls and stuff like that, he took like over 2,000 like photos on his phone of him with like every single kind of move that someone could make to like to show a sign. And he just deciphered it and made it his point to be the very best at it. I kind of come away from the documentary thinking a couple things. Documentary. Why am I saying it so weird?
I don't know, but I like it.
Murders in the documentary building basement floor.
So,
documentaries, baby.
Yeah, the documentary. I come away with a couple things. One, like what Connor Stallions did is definitely on the gray line of what you're allowed to do. Is it cheating? Probably. But is it but like there were no rules against it.
It's like counting cards in a casino. Right?
Well, counting cards in the casino, like if the casino, like the NCAA, like let's equate the casino to the NCAA, like the casino catches you counting cards, they're gonna be like, hey, here's some free tickets to something nice. You should probably stop. But like how the difference is here is the NCAA, like they really couldn't do really anything at all other than what they did. You know, we got a lot of like what he was, and there is no doubt in my mind that Shadur or Shamik Moore, of who's now the head coach of Michigan, he definitely knew what was going on. Like there is no doubt in my mind. And it's kind of funny because like the law is such a really clever thing, to the point where like they ask him, hey, was that you on the Central Michigan sideline? I can't recall. Like you don't recall being on, like it's funny how you can just say, oh, I forgot. I forgot if I was there or not. You blah blah blah. And a lot of it is apparently blamed to the fact that apparently like he was hacked and a lot of his stuff leaked. And it goes into all this thing where, you know, they believe that an Ohio State person was the culprit of hacking his stuff and leaking it to the NCAA for him to be investigated. There's a lot of definitely miswording stuff here, but I think if you're someone who's on the fence about whether what Connor Stallions did, is it cheating, is it not, who knew, who didn't know, I think you'll get a little bit more answers out of this documentary. But it is entertaining. Like I'll give it to him. I'll give it to Connor Stallions. He's a smart man and he knew exactly what he was doing. When he did it for Navy, that was the winningest tenure under Navy that they had. If that kind of doesn't like really start to get into your mind, then I think this will do it. There's a lot of like Barstool personalities. Connor Stallions was even on the Barstool Pick'em show this week for it. So like he's roaming around. He is just taking in all the pride. I guess from everything. It doesn't help that he lost 61-0 in his head coaching debut in high school, but it is definitely a good show, and I definitely think you come away with a couple answers of your own. And the fun thing about Untold is they really don't give you an answer.
Yeah,
they just let you come up with what you
I
want.
love the Untold stuff. It's great.
I think people will like. I think people will like this.
Yeah, I'll
that's interesting.
That
Most definitely.
Check it out.
All right.
Rebel Ridge.
Yeah.
Rebel Ridge. Just came out on Netflix. This is a movie, not a TV show. Barry, for someone like you and I who enjoys Reacher, Craig, you watch Reacher, right?
I have not.
Okay, he didn't watch Reacher.
Watch Reacher.
Yes.
Watch Reacher.
You will get down with this movie and you will enjoy it as much as I do. Very simple premise. There is a man who is a former Marine who is on his way into town on his bike, not motorcycle, like bicycle. He gets hit by the cops. The cops pull him over saying that he was evading them. They check his backpack. He has $30,000 of cash in his backpack. They seize his money. The money he was using to go pay bail to get his cousin out of jail. That's the base premise. Kind of like Reacher, where like this guy is just trying to do something and the cops get involved. And if they would just leave him alone, they would be fine. But they continue to mess with this man who has a background that they find out later. Just kind of like Reacher. It's just one of those, like, just leave people alone and mind your business. But the cops are doing some shady stuff. And of course he gets involved, that kind of thing. I don't want to give a whole lot away. He has help from some local people in the town, this small town, that are like, hey, something's going on here. It was a great movie. I thought it was incredible. It came out of nowhere. I had heard nothing about it until I saw something and everybody was like, oh, it's actually a really good movie. So I checked it out. Go watch that. Barry, go watch that. Craig, you can watch it as well, but you also need to watch Reacher.
Yeah, it's the old before Reacher, it was the old Rambo rule. Just leave Rambo alone.
Yeah, just leave. I love those for those movies. Like, it's such a simple premise. I love them. I love them. Yeah, like if you would just leave the dude alone, you would be fine. And then Oddity, this is a horror movie. Kind of came out of nowhere, but boy, does this movie slap. Let me tell you.
Really?
Yes.
Craig is literally writing this down right now. I can see he's like
horror. Right. Craig, write it down. Write it down.
I'm already here.
Oddity. Okay, so Oddity. I'll give you the base premise. I don't like to give too much away. Basically, what happens is there is a lady who is at a house that she is renovating. In the middle of the night, this guy comes up to her door, knocks on the door, and says, "Hey, you got to get out of the house. There's somebody in there who's trying to kill you." The guy at the door is extremely creepy. So it's like this whole dilemma. Like, what would you do in that situation? Do you let him in? Because he says, hey, let me in so I can protect you. Do you say no? And this guy's crazy. Anyway, it's not a spoiler, but the lady ends up dying. Fast forward a couple years, this lady has a sister who is blind, who is also a psychic, who comes to town to kind of investigate what happened, because the man that was outside the door that night, who they suspected killed her, ended up dying a year or two later. So she starts investigating. This movie has a ton of great jump scares, but also she is a psychic who collects cursed objects, and she like uses the cursed objects to figure out what's going on. She's blind. It's such a crazy premise.
I love everything about it. I love everything about it.
It's a good one. So check that one out for sure. Barry, you don't have to watch this one. You already watched Reacher, so I won't say don't watch this one, but watch Reacher. Craig, put it on your list. I think this one's gonna go.
List.
This one's gonna go on my yearly October rotation. I'm running out of days, so I'm gonna have to start.
Yeah,
maybe it'll be my September and October rotation now because I just have too many.
Full disclosure, we have already started.
I probably should.
Scary movies.
I mean, I watched this, so that counts as one. And you watched Longlegs, so you have that going. But yeah, check out Oddity. Let me know what you think. See if you also put it on your list. But yeah, those are the two I watched. One for each of you.
Yeah, and Barry, you got one more, right?
I do.
Yep.
Delicious in Dungeon. It is it's an anime on Netflix. It's a Netflix original. All episodes are out, so you don't have to. And I should say there's a season 2 incoming. If I'm trying to figure out kind of how to explain this to you guys, it's kind of weird, but I want you guys to imagine like you're in a world, you're in a party, and you're a bunch of dungeon crawlers, and the reason you guys end up getting blipped out of a dungeon or escaping a dungeon is because you were too hungry. You ran out of food. And it's because like you bring the food up when you're dungeoning, and then you go all the way down and you ran out of food and you lost because you didn't run out of food. This show is about a party that gets into pretty deep floors of the dungeon, and one of their, like, let's say their medic class person blips them out of a dungeon to save everyone, but sacrifices themselves. They blame the fact that they were hungry on the fact that they did not perform as well as they should have. So what do? They don't like regroup, because in this one she can be revived. She's not dead. So the whole point is, let's get back into this dungeon as soon as possible. We gotta save her. You don't have any money. You didn't get any food. So what are you gonna do? You eat the monsters in the dungeon. That's what you do. This is kind of an interesting anime where, and I will say, it is very slow to begin with.
Okay.
And that's gonna be the hard part for a lot of people, is the fact that the first like probably 6 or 8 episodes are kind of this floor of the week thing that I'll call it, where they get to a floor of the dungeon. Okay. And they come up with a problem. Okay, we need to kill this thing. Okay, we kill it. How do we cook it? How do we eat it? Is the next thing. So I think what makes this enjoyable is the entire party is fun to watch. This is kind of a comedy, but also kind of a cooking anime in a weird way. There is a reason that this anime is like, it is very popular in Japan. Okay. There are cafes based off of it, but how they kind of take the angle of cooking and storytelling, I actually think is done really well here. The characters are all interesting, and once you start, if you can get through the slow part, because you now have a connection with these characters, the story is like a big snowball that eventually becomes this huge snowball that you really get into. And that's what I really liked about it. The season does end, I think, kind of in an unsatisfying way, if you ask me. Okay. I really wish that there was kind of a more satisfying way to end it, but I've been enjoying it. It is a Netflix original. They're about, I think, half an hour episodes, but Delicious in Dungeon, if you're looking to kind of try something new, or like an anime that's not, it's not Food Wars, if I can put it that way. This is something you can watch.
Dang it.
That's immediately what I thought when you started describing it. I was like, how close is it to Food Wars?
Yeah, no, this is an anime that people can watch without any issue. Right. Craig's kids or wife wants to watch it, they'd probably be fine. It's not that crazy. But I personally, while it was very slow and I had a difficult time getting through the slow part, I kind of forced myself through it, and then I ended up like binging the rest of the season in a day here. Do I think you guys would enjoy it? Like, I only recommend bangers on this podcast.
He does only recommend bangers.
Delicious and Dungeous, like, it doesn't start out as a banger, but it becomes a banger.
I don't know. The last one you suggested, and I watched the first episode, was not a banger.
Oshinoko.
God, no!
You didn't like that? Oh, I thought it was.
That made me uncomfortable.
Okay. I like I said, I am deep into Oshinoko, and it is fun. Okay, sorry I didn't like that one.
Sorry, it wasn't a banger.
I have a feeling Delicious in Dungeon is probably more up your alley.
That's fair.
He's so sorry it's not a banger.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I thought you'd like that. After the first episode, I was hooked.
No, it's okay though. Not everybody feels the same way about everything.
Yeah,
right.
It's all good.
Yeah, you weren't a big fan of Puss in Boots after I recommended it. Like,
no, I wasn't.
Yeah, it's just me. I'm the animation guy.
That's why movies and games are great. Different opinions.
You probably think it sucks. Well, hopefully, Delicious in Dungeon you like. That's what I'm hoping for.
I'll check it out
if you're willing to. Okay, cool. All right, if you're willing to give it a shot. But other than that, yeah, that's all that we watched. Is there anything else you guys want to mention or anything we forgot to talk about?
There's so many good games. Go play them.
Yeah. Immediately after ending this, Craig's gonna go pick up Astro Bot. I guarantee you. Yeah.
It's already on the way.
And then Wukong.
I'm waiting for a sale, or at least I'm trying to.
There ain't gonna be a sale. Not if it's digital only.
They'll do some sort of black. I don't know. Yeah, you're probably right. I should probably just buy it. Regardless, I want to thank everybody for listening. If you are listening on Apple Music, Spotify, Google Podcast isn't a thing anymore. YouTube Premium podcast way, I would appreciate it if you leave a like, leave a star rating, leave a review if you feel so inclined. Make sure to share it with a friend as well if you don't mind, or if you think that would like us. We're a funny group, I know. And if you're watching on YouTube, please make sure to like and comment about your opinions on the Connor Stallions documentary, on the on Longlegs, or on any of the other things we talked about here, or even Astro Bot. I'd love to talk about Astro Bot a bit more. So thanks again for the support that everyone gives us. We always appreciate it week in and week out, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye, guys.
See ya.